This meeting is being recorded.
Guys, apart from theoretical part, we had actually discussed how to create a new table, and also we had discussed how to create the new fields as well. So we also call fields as dictionaries in the ServiceNow platform. So we have created multiple fields and we have understand the properties inside the fields, like how to make the field mandatory, read only, display value, and how to change the attributes, default value, calculated value, and dependent value, and choice list specification, and reference specification. Also, we had discussed about reference qualifier as well. Can any one of you guys tell me what is reference qualifier? Why do we use reference qualifier?
Reference qualifier is restricts the values or what it called.
See, reference qualifier is something like which is used to restrict the data that you can see in the reference fields.
Yes.
You understand? Do you guys understand or not?
Yeah.
So reference qualifier is something which is used to restrict the data that you can see in the reference fields. So what is dictionary override? What is dictionary override? What is dictionary override, guys? What is dictionary override? Hare Krishna, Venkat, Naveen, Ashish. So, guys, do you understand what is dictionary override?
Yeah, we can change the field properties from parent table to child
Yes.
table. Yeah.
So why are other guys not responding? Are you guys not clear with the dictionary override?
No, we understood it, but how it
You are unable to convey the. You are unable
exactly.
to
convey the.
See,
Yes, exactly.
which is also one of the drawback, Banu. See, if you are good at one thing, you should showcase yourself. Okay, you should be able to present the things to. You should be able to present the things in front of the customers. See, whatever you know, right? So you should be able to convey the message to opposite person. Okay, so which is very important for us. Okay, if you understand something, you should be able to convey that. Okay, try to improve that. Okay, and also we had discussed about
the terminology words. What are the words we use for the exactly the terminology we sometimes we forget it, and sometimes we
okay, fine, no worries, I can understand. One thing that you need to do is practice the things and get the knowledge from multiple sources. Okay, so once you are done with this session, right? So I will request you to go through the session one more time, and if you get some time, you can go through the YouTube as well, and if you get some time, you can go through the blogs as well. So there are multiple sources which you can actually explore. Okay, so that you will get familiar with the platform. Hope you understand what I mean.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay. So we also had discussed UI policies as well. So why do we use UI policies?
To make
Why
the
do we
fields mandate
sorry?
based on certain condition when we need to make the fields mandatory or readable or display.
Yep, Venkat, you're right.
Yeah, thank you.
So here, let me just go to the incident form. So because our flight issue table is gone, guys, because my instance was deprecated, and then ServiceNow has provided me a new instance. That is why the flight issue table is gone. But you are still clear, right? How to create the table and all. Guys?
Yes, Uday.
Yeah. So I've just clicked on new incident. Okay. So these are actually sections, guys. I am opening one existing record. I am opening one existing record. Existing record in the sense already created record. So I am opening this one. Okay. Consider, guys, here in the incident table, we all know what are these called. These are actually called fields, right? Yes, please go on mute. So these are actually called fields. Okay. So here, if you scroll a little down, these are actually called sections. First section, second section, third section. Okay. These are actually called sections. So here, these are actually called related lists. So remember, guys, the terminology you guys have to remember. These are called related lists. Okay. So using UI policies, you can also hide related lists as well. We'll quickly go and check how to hide the related list as well. Configure. Where do I have to navigate? Where do I have to navigate, guys?
Form layout
Form
or
layout.
design.
Why do I
Or
have to
this-
go to? Why do I have to go to form design, form layout? What is the topic that we have been discussing?
We need to go table, right?
No, we are actually discussing UI policies topic, right?
Okay.
So here you need to navigate to UI policies.
Yeah.
So this is the UI policy that we have actually created yesterday. Can you guys remember? Can you guys remember what is reverse if false? What is onload? What do you know? What happens if we uncheck the checkbox? And what is this inherit checkbox? Do you guys remember what are the properties this about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Reverse if false is whenever the we blank the
whenever it is mandatory.
Yeah, not
Whenever the condition is not true, then it
not sure.
applies.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So what about onload?
Whenever we change the data on the form, then automatically, it gives the message or make the fields mandatory or display.
I think it's a default value if we gave it to them, and it will take the default value and check the condition.
See, on the form load, the default value will be set up, right? Okay. On the form load also, this UI policy should work on means unload, you will have to check the checkbox onload. Okay, you understand it, right?
Yeah.
On the form load, you will set up the default value. See, this assigned to is getting populated whenever you load the form, right? See, if you change it to something else, the category and subcategory are getting non-mandatory here. So by default, it will work on change. If this should work on form load as well, means you will have to check on load. Okay. Just remember this point. So apply when the UI policy actions when the form is loaded and the user changes values on the form. So there are two cases. The UI policy will work. UI policies apply the UI policy actions when the form is loaded. So this is one case when the user changes the value on the form. So these are the two cases that UI policy will work. So if this should work on load, you will have to check this checkbox. Okay. So what does this inherit does?
If we select the inherit, all the UI policies applies here will apply for the parent table or the child table.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Now we have come to the UI policy actions here. So here, what are we doing? We are actually making field mandatory. Okay. So now in place of mandatory, what I want to do is I want to make this as visible. Whenever the assigned to is empty, whenever the assigned to is not empty, these two fields will not be visible. Let me just show you. See, these two fields are not visible now because assigned to is not empty. If I make this as empty here, these two fields are visible now. Did you guys understand?
Yes, Uday.
So if I make it not empty, you guys can see category and subcategories will be gone. See, category and subcategories are gone. If you make this empty, those are visible now. Okay. So I want to make the fields read only. Okay. Here, if you refresh this one, see by default, these two fields are read only because assigned to is not empty. So if you make this empty, those fields will be readable now. See, these fields are readable now. If you make this not empty, these two fields are read only. Okay, you guys understand, right?
Yes, Uday.
So here, whenever you select this one, right? So let us say you have opened an existing record. So this is an existing record. Okay, whenever the color is, whenever the SN2 is not empty, I want to hide this child related list as well. I want to hide this child related list as well. So what I have to do is here in the second tab, UI policy related list actions. Okay, here you can just click on new here. So related list name, child incidents. Last question. False. See here. So are these child incidents are visible here? No.
No.
If I remove this one, see here, child incidents are now appearing. So you can actually control the form, like if you want to make field mandatory, read only, visible, and hide the related list, then you can use UI policies. Okay, you understand, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Uday.
Okay. Where is the UI policy? Okay, let me open this UI policy. This UI policy, in this UI policy, if you go to the advanced view, go to the advanced view. So see here, there is a tab called script. Okay, here in the script, you have option run scripts. So here in the UI policy also you can do the scripting, but I'll actually explain this thing in another session because I haven't started the scripting, right? So I'll start the scripting in next session. So we can also just remember the point that we can also do the scripting in UI policies as well. Okay, till here you guys are good, right?
Yes, Uday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also one important point that I'm actually going to tell you. So you are able to see, convert this to data policy. So I will actually explain this thing in a few minutes, but just remember this point, convert this to data policy. So this is actually called related link. Okay. So this related link, if I check this checkbox, the related link, right? If I check this checkbox and save this one, the related link will disappear. So the related link is visible here?
No.
No. Okay. So if I uncheck this one and save this one, now you guys can see whether the related link is available or not. See, the related link is available. So when you check this run script checkbox, you cannot see convert this to data policy. Okay. And there is one more case here. If you make it, if you are dealing with the visibility also, okay, if you are dealing with visibility also, so now if I refresh this one, right, so I won't be able to see this, convert this to data policy. See, I am not able to see, convert this to data policy. So there are two cases where you cannot actually see, convert this to data policy. One is when you check this run script checkbox, and also when you are dealing with visibility in the UI policy actions. So in these two cases, you cannot actually convert the UI policy as data policy. So now I'm actually leaving it alone. If I refresh this one, see, now this is visible. Convert this to data policy. So hope you guys understand, right? What exactly UI policy and why do we use UI policy? Hello.
Yes, Uday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uday, I
Now,
have a question.
yeah, go ahead, please.
These actions are there, right? Category and subcategory. Does this affect if we change only one for visibility? Does it affect this related link?
I couldn't understand you.
So this in actions,
Mhm.
we've got category and subcategory, right? If we
Yes.
change it only for the category visibility,
Hmm.
does it affect this related link? Convert this data
Yeah,
to
yeah.
this?
See,
Only one is enough, right?
no, only one is enough. So if you are, if you change it to, if you are dealing with this one, right?
Mhm.
Then also it will not be visible.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, what I want to discuss is, I want to discuss about data policies. So far, we have actually discussed about the UI policy. And now I want to discuss about the data policy. Okay. When exactly we can create data policy? Why do we have to create a data policy? Why do we have to create a data policy? So guys, this incident record, right? This incident record can be created in multiple ways. This incident record can be created in multiple ways. So one is through user interface. This is actually the user interface. The one which you are actually seeing is the user interface. From the user interface, you can actually create the incident. From the user interface, you can actually create the incident. Okay. And from the email also, you can create the incident. See here, channel. See, from the chat, you can create incident. From the email, you can create incident. From the phone, you can create incident. From the record producer, you can create the incident. From the virtual agent, you can create the incident. So there are actually multiple ways to create the incident. Okay. So there are actually multiple ways to create the incident. Are you guys able to understand?
Yeah.
So that
So through the you can create the incident from the another tool as well. So let us say you have a Salesforce tool. From the Salesforce tool, you can actually create an incident in ServiceNow table. Okay. From the Excel sheet also, you can actually load the details in the ServiceNow platform. So from the Excel sheet also, you can actually create an incident. From the another tool also, you can create the incident. Okay. From the email also, you can create the incident. By making a call also, you can create the incident. Okay. From the record producer also, you can create the incident. There are actually multiple ways to create a record. Okay. There are actually multiple ways to create a record. So guys, UI policies will only work in the user interface level. Try to understand the point here. UI policies will only work from the user interface level. It will not work whenever a record is getting created from email. It will not whenever a record is getting created from Salesforce. It will not work whenever a record is getting from the Excel sheet. It will not work whenever a record is getting created from the call. It will not work whenever a record is getting created from the record producer. So UI policy will only work on user interface level. Are you guys clear?
Yes, Uday.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's clear.
So now I have a testing tool here in the ServiceNow platform. So here I am actually making the UI policy as, so whenever the assign to is not empty, let me just go to the first requirement. So whenever the assign to is not empty, the category and subcategory fields will become mandatory. Okay. See here, you have filled in the assign to from the default value. Okay, these two fields are mandatory fields. If you make these empty, these two fields are non-mandatory. If you have selected the value, these two fields are mandatory. If you have selected assign to, you must fill in these two details as well, is what the customer requirement. Try to understand the point here. If you have selected the assign to, you must fill in the category and subcategory mandatorily. Without filling in these two details, you should not be able to create the incident from any source. It can be email, it can be Salesforce, it can be import set, it can be Excel sheet, it can be phone, it can be record producer, whatever. So if you are actually providing assign to value, you must also provide category and subcategory details mandatorily, is what customer intent. You are able to understand my point.
Yes.
See, whenever you are actually selecting assign to, customer intent is they must also provide category and subcategory.
So it's a customer requirement, right?
It's a customer requirement. So whenever you are creating an incident, if assign to is not empty, category and subcategory should also be filled. So if these, without filling this category and subcategory, you should not be able to create the incident.
Yeah.
Hope you are able to understand my point. So it is not only from user interface. From any source, if you have selected assign to, category and subcategory field should be filled. If you don't fill in these two details, you should not be able to submit this one. See, I have selected this one. I have selected these two details. So I have actually filled assign to. If assign to is not empty, these fields are non-mandatory. I can actually save this one. If assign to is filled, they must fill in these two details. So I'm actually filling in the assign to. So see here, category and subcategory are mandatory. If you don't fill in these two details, you won't be able to submit the form. Okay, this should happen from all the sources. Okay, so the UI policies will only work on user interface level. So now I will show you. So whether UI policies are working in other sources as well or not. So I am actually navigating to a testing tool called REST API Explorer. This is actually testing, guys. Testing for the testing purpose, we use this one. From here, I am actually trying to create incident. Okay. Here, response fields. Response fields, I want to get number, that's it. Okay. See here, request body. So here, I'm actually filling in the color. I'm actually providing the 6 ID of this record. And so I am filling in assign to here. If assign to is filled, what are all the mandatory fields that we must fill in?
Category and subcategory.
Category and subcategory should be filled. If you don't fill in those 3 details, you should not be able to submit this. Okay. Here, if you click on send, right? See here, it has given me a success message. So what is the incident number that is created? This is the incident that is created in the incident table. So which you can actually check here. See, this is the incident that we have created from REST API Explorer. See, we did not fill in category and subcategory. This is the default value that has been populated, guys. So we did not fill in these details. Still, we are able to submit this one. So if you don't fill in mandatory details, did it allow, will it allow you to submit the form?
No.
No, right? But it has allowed from the, it has allowed from the REST API Explorer. Okay. Then the data policy will come into picture. Then the data policy will come into picture. So data policy will work from the background. Background in the sense, let us say if you are actually creating an incident record from the Salesforce and you have filled in assign to, but you haven't filled in category and subcategory, data policy will not allow you to submit the record. Are you guys able to catch me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You understand, right? So data policy, like if you are actually creating a record, incident record from the email, okay, and then you are passing assign to, but you are not passing category and subcategory. Okay, so data policy will not allow you to create a record in the incident table. Okay, so as you have written UI policy is not working from the other ways, like from the REST API Explorer or Salesforce or REST API Explorer or Salesforce or import sets or any other ways. So UI policy is only working from the user interface level. So in other ways, the data policy will play key role. Okay. So now what I am going to do is, so where is my UI policy here? I am going to convert this as data policy. See, new data policy created from UI policy. Okay. So by default, this will work on REST API Explorer. This will work now. As you have checked this one, this will work on while you are actually creating incidents from the Excel sheet. So it will, when you have checked this one, it will work on SOAP integrations, and it will also work as UI policy as well. Use UI policy on client. Data policy will also work as UI policy. That means data policy will work on user interface. Data policy will work from external sources like a Salesforce or any other tool. Data policy will work on Excel sheets. That means import sets. Data policy will work on email. Data policy will also work on mobile. So data policy will work on agent workspace. The data policy will work on virtual agent, chat box, So whatever the other ways are there, so the data policy will work in all other ways. Okay. Now I will again go to the REST API Explorer. So this time I'm actually changing the test 2. I'm trying to submit this one. Now you guys can see. So what is it giving? 403 forbidden error. So what is it telling? Operation failed, data policy exception. The following fields are mandatory. Subcategory alone. So here, why is it showing only subcategory? Is that there is a default value for inquiry. That is the reason I guess it is only showing subcategory. Okay. Now I'm going to the REST API Explorer. Here I'm going to give a test 3 here. I am going to submit this one. So what is it telling? 403 forbidden. You guys can see here, data policy exception. The following fields are mandatory. Category, subcategory. Okay. You are able to understand.
Yeah.
So data policy will work in all other ways. For import sets, it will work. For integrations, it will work. For email, it will work. For call also, it will work. So it will work in all other ways, guys. So data policy will also work from the user interface as well. But when it comes to the UI policy, it will only work from the user interface. Hope you understand. Understand, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
So just a while ago, we had a discussion. In what are all the cases we cannot actually see convert this to data policy? In what are all the cases we cannot see convert this to data policy related link?
If we use the script.
When we use the script, and also in what are the other cases?
Visibility as well.
Yeah, you are right, Naveen. So visibility also. So when you are controlling the visibility, so you cannot convert that UI policy as data policy. Okay. So if you go to the data policy here, where is my data policy? Yeah. So here in this data policy, you don't see UI policy actions, you don't see UI policy related link actions. So you don't see those. Here you will be able to see data policy rules. Okay. Here in this data policy rules, you can see only mandatory read only. So there is no visibility option here in the data policy. You understand? You understand what I mean?
Yes.
So in the UI policy action, you can see mandatory read only, visibility also. But here in the data policy rules, you don't have visibility option here. So if you move back, so here in the data policy, you cannot actually write script here. Here in the data policy, you cannot write script here. You understand my point?
Yes.
So that is the reason, if you have written a script, or if you are actually controlling the visibility in the UI policy, in that case, you cannot convert that UI policy as data policy. Hope you understand what I mean.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
So now you guys can tell me what is this inherit option about?
It's to apply the same policy to the child tables field.
Yeah.
Child table fields.
Suppose you are actually writing data policy on the base table. So base table incident is not actually the base table. So suppose if you are actually writing the data policy on the base table. So let us say task table. So this data policy should work on all the tables, means all the child tables, means you will have to check this checkbox. Hope you understand.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Sir.
So consider, guys, I have a tool called HPSM. So there is an integration between ServiceNow platform and HPSM. Whenever I create an incident here, that will actually create an incident in the ServiceNow platform. So here I am actually filling in the assign to, but not filling in category and subcategory. So there is only UI policy. So when I try to create a record by filling in the assign to, not filling category and subcategory, will I be able to create the record?
Yes.
No.
We can.
Yes, we can. So if there is a data policy in place of that, can we create record without filling category and subcategory?
No.
No, we cannot create record. Okay. So data policy will work in the background. Background in the sense, let us say if you are actually creating incident record from any external source, like a Excel sheet or integration or record producer or virtual agent or chat box or call or email, whatever. So remember, guys, in the ServiceNow platform, records can be created in multiple ways, not only from the user interface. So records can be created in the ServiceNow platform in multiple ways. I have already told you what are all the ways, guys, or what are all the ways you guys understand. Can you guys please let me know?
Through Excel,
through emails,
Salesforce, email.
Chat.
So consider it is not only Salesforce, any external tool. Through Facebook also you can create incident. Understand, guys?
Yeah.
So you understand, so what are all the ways we can actually create an incident and how does the data policy will work? So now you guys can tell me, so if I directly write data policy, will it work as UI policy?
Yes.
No.
Yes, it will work as UI policy because use as UI policy on the client. Okay. Can we write scripting in the data policy?
No.
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 Can we control the visibility using data policy?
No.
No.
No, there is no option for visibility.
Okay, fine. So guys, we'll quickly discuss a few things, guys. In ServiceNow platform, first and foremost thing that you need to understand is what is client side, what is server side. What is client side, what is server side. So guys, if you are dealing with the database, that is actually server side. If you are dealing with the form, that is actually client side. Okay, UI policies are client side or server side?
Client.
Client.
So data policies are client side or server side?
I think server.
Client.
Both sides.
Yeah, both.
Why both sides? So it will work from the client. It will also work from the database as well. Understand my point?
Yes, sir.
You are clear with my point, right?
Yes.
No, no. Can you repeat one more time?
Yeah. So guys, if you are actually dealing with a database, that is actually called server side. That is actually called server side. If you are actually dealing with user interface or form, that is actually called client side. Is it clear?
Yeah.
If you are dealing with user interface or form, that is actually called client side. If you are dealing with the database, that is actually called server side. Okay. So here UI policies only deal with the user interface or form. Guys, here UI policies will only deal with user interface or form. Then UI policies are client side or server side?
Client side.
Client side. So data policies will deal with the database, and it is also dealing with the form level as well, user interface level as well. So then data policies are client side or server side?
Both sides.
Both sides.
Both sides. So you understand the difference between client side and server side, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, understood.
Yeah. So guys, in the ServiceNow platform, so first and foremost thing that you need to understand is client side and server side. Okay. So these are the areas that works in the client. Okay, these are the client scripting areas. So UI policies, data policies work as both client side and server side. That is why I have actually specified in both sides, client side, server side. Okay, so here UI actions also both client side and server side. So I have actually segregated client side scripting areas, server side scripting areas. Okay, you guys understand, you guys are able to understand, right? Hello.
Yeah, but here we are seeing new things. So
Okay, no problem. I'm here to explain the things, guys. See, I've just told you difference between client and server. Okay. Now what are all the scripting areas are from the client side? What are the scripting areas from server side? I'm actually trying to explain you. Okay. UI policies are client side. Data policies work also in the client side. Client scripts are client side. UI pages, UI scripts, UI macros, UI actions, all these are actually client side. Okay. So here, while you are actually doing the scripting from the client side, you must be aware of these APIs. These are actually ServiceNow provided APIs. Okay, these are actually ServiceNow provided APIs. So Glide user is actually a client side API, which you cannot actually use it in the server side. Glide form is actually an API from the client side, which you cannot actually use it in the server side. Glide Ajax is an API which is used only in the client side, which cannot be used in the server side. So Glide dialog window, Glide model, Glide list, these are the APIs that ServiceNow has provided. These can be used only in the client side. Hope you understand, guys. Huh? Guys, any confusion here?
No. Can you repeat one more time?
Oh.
Yeah, can you repeat one more time?
Yeah. In the ServiceNow platform, guys, there are some scripting areas that will only work in the client side. Okay. There are some scripting areas that will only work in the server side. Okay. So in the ServiceNow platform, there are some scripting areas that will only work in the client side. So there are some scripts which will only work in the server side. Okay, these are all actually client side scriptings. These are actually server side scriptings. Just remember this, guys. In the long run, you will be able to understand everything. Are you guys clear?
Yeah.
See, we will be discussing one by one, guys. UI policy, we have covered data policy. So we are going to discuss about client scripts. Okay. So while you are actually learning client scripts, right? You will be starting the scripting, guys. So how do you start scripting? Using these APIs. Okay. So we are actually discussing client side part now. We are actually discussing client side part. Once we are done with the client side part, we'll move ahead with the server side part. Hope you understand, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have covered UI policies, and also I have actually covered data policies as well, because data policies will also work in the client side and server side. I have covered data policies as well. So tomorrow I will be covering client scripts. So where does the client scripts work? Client scripts work in the client side or server side?
Client side.
Only client side.
Client side means on the user interface or on the user interface or form?
User interface.
User interface or form. So if you are actually dealing with user interface or form, that is actually called client side. So if you are actually dealing with the database, that is actually server side.
Okay.
Okay.
Most preferable way which is used which is used in real time, client side or server side?
See, both sides will have to work being a developer.
Okay.
See, we'll have to learn, we'll have to use both the things. As per the customer requirement, we'll have to choose, we'll have to use client side scripting or we'll have to use server side scripting. See, we must learn these two things, guys. Both client side scripting and server side scripting. Okay. So if customer asks you one requirement, so as per the requirement, you need to choose. So whether I have to write access control list, or whether I have to write workflow, or whether I have to write script action, or whether I have to write business rule. So in what way we can actually achieve the customer requirement, we will have to choose these scripting areas. So if customer asks you, okay, whenever I select assign to, that means whenever assign to is empty, so I have to make field mandatory. So I want the subcategory and category field should be filled whenever the assign to is not empty. So that is what customer will ask you. So in that case, what is the scripting area that you will choose? Will you choose UI policy or data policy?
Data policy.
Data policy is the right way. Okay. So this part. So let us say customer will ask you, I want to send a report on monthly basis. Monthly on second date, I have to send a report. So immediately this scripting, server side scripting area, schedule job should touch your mind.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how you will have to recall the things, guys. Okay, I am going to cover all these things. There are a few other things which I haven't documented here. So I'll be covering those things as well. So guys, I'm telling you, this training is going to be very useful for you if you are actually able to catch the things and if you are able to open your mouth. Understand?
Thank you, Uday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any other questions? Okay, guys, we can wrap it up for today and we'll see you tomorrow then. Thank you.
Thank you, Uday.